You're listening to Midlife Side Quest, the Over the Hill Gaming Podcast. Here's your host, John Wall.
It's September 19th, 2024, and welcome to another episode of Midlife Side Quest, the Over the Hill video game podcast. My name is John Wall, and every Thursday morning I bring you the latest video game impressions, industry news, and tales of a Gen X geek delivered to you in about 15 minutes. And to ensure that you never miss an episode, you can subscribe to the show, which is available on all major platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And it would be fantastic if you left a review while you're there to help spread the word about the show. I am happy that you've tuned in today because on this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Plucky Squire. But first, I am sending out this week's positive vibes to Jared Petty. Jared is a writer and editor who has left his mark all over the games and tech industry. You may be familiar with his work from when he was at IGN, or perhaps from one of his appearances on the Kinda Funny network of shows. He's also worked for EA, Google, and currently he is a senior manager at Limited Run Games. He's also a super nice guy, and he has a great sense of humor. Great reasons to give him a follow over on Threads. So many people in the gaming community, are just negative Nancy's. So we got to throw our support behind the real good guys, and Jared definitely is. So thank you to Jared, and enjoy your complimentary positive vibes. There's been a lot of talk recently about technical power in video game consoles. Can it run games at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second? Can it do all of that and ray tracing? How many teraflops does it have? All this talk about power and the highest possible graphical output. And to me, I've always been of the opinion that I would take wonderful art style over raw power. Some of my favorite games in recent years have been more impressive for their art direction than, how many strands of hair are being recreated on a character's head. Games like Pentiment and Psychonauts 2 and Tinykin. So needless to say, when I first laid eyes on the Plucky Squire, I knew that I needed to experience this game. Plucky Squire comes from Devolver Digital and developer All Possible Futures. The studio was founded in 2019 by Jonathan Biddle and James Turner, who together have worked on games like The Sword of Ditto, Stealth Inc., and Pokemon. This is their first title under this new banner, and if it's any indication of what this partnership is capable of, I will be incredibly excited because this game is an absolute gem, and it's one of the most creative games that I have played in a long time. You play as Jot, a heroic young squire who, along with his friends Thrash and Violet, battle the villainous Humgrump and his thugs to defend the land of Mojo. The game plays out like a children's storybook, with each turn of the page being a new screen, a new area to explore. There's even a narrator who dramatically reads along with the adventure. It has a beautiful hand-drawn art style that really makes it feel like you're playing an interactive storybook. It's a colorful and charming presentation that reminded me of the countless storybooks that I've read to my kids when they were younger. As Jot and the gang finally arrive to confront Humgrump, though, they're hit with a shocking revelation. The evil wizard has discovered the truth that their entire world is just a children's book, and that their story plays out the same way every time, with Jot defeating Humgrump, because that's the way the author wrote it. But this time, armed with that knowledge and a mysterious new power, Humgrump banishes Jot from the book in an attempt to rewrite the story. And that's where things get really interesting with this game. So as he's struck by this powerful new attack, Jot is flung from the page and he lands on the desk in the young reader's bedroom, transforming himself from the flat, hand-drawn character that he was to a fully 3D Jot now in this real world. And I gotta say, the first time I saw the game transition from the colorful two-dimensional pages of the book to this fully rendered world of the child's room was kind of stunning. It was an amazing moment. It's such a stark contrast between the two worlds that, honestly, it's probably one of my favorite moments in gaming this year. Jot quickly learns, though, that he somehow has the ability to use these portals to jump in and out of the book, and you'll spend the rest of the game going back and forth between the two. While in the book, the game plays kind of like a 2D Zelda game. You know, it's got the top-down view. You're exploring villages and battling enemies with your sword. If you played, like Link to the Past or something, it'll feel familiar, although the book too can change to different perspectives on occasion. When you're outside of the book, it plays more like a full 3D platformer, exploring the environment on the desk and going up against creatures that have also spilled out from the pages. The game really stretches its creative legs when you discover the different ways in which you can manipulate the book itself, like, say, swapping words between different paragraphs on the page to change something in the world. Maybe the text says, a massive boulder stands before you, so it's blocking your path. You can't get through. Well, find the word broken on the next page, pick it up and place it in front of the word boulder, and voila, the rock shatters and the path is clear. Or flip the storybook, back a few pages to retrieve an important item that you need now. You'll learn several really clever ways to manipulate the book, and it always feels super cool when you do it. My one complaint throughout the game is that I wish it was a bit more challenging. The puzzles are usually pretty simple, and oftentimes they give you big hints as to what you're expected to do, or sometimes just flat out say, this is how you get past it. It's still really fun to do, but it didn't give me that sense of accomplishment, in a puzzle game or something when you figure something out and it feels so good. I also didn't die a single time during the game, and it's not because I'm so awesome at games. Plucky Squire is an incredibly charming and creative game full of great moments and fun characters, from Moonbeard, the Gandalf-like wizard / DJ who mentors you, to Paige, the bookworm who helps you find your way. It is a fun cast, and the writing can be quite funny sometimes. And the game is constantly throwing new abilities at you, mini games, and different ways to interact with the book. I was constantly entertained throughout the 10 or so hours that it took to finish it. There are some bugs in the version that I played pre-release, so hopefully that gets maybe a day one patch or something shortly after. Nothing real game-breaking, but some minor annoyances. This game had been on my radar since it was revealed, and it definitely lived up to my expectations. I wish it had a bit more challenge to it, but I think fans of creative indie games will really find a lot to love here. It's available right now, and it's also part of the PlayStation Plus subscription service, so good deal. So recently, Sony announced their PlayStation 5 Pro, which is coming out in November, and there are just constant rumors swirling around the Switch 2 right now. With mid-generation refreshes and Nintendo just kind of, doing their own thing, it seems like there's always some kind of chatter about new hardware. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I hate console launches. I truly, truly do. I don't hate new consoles. In fact, oftentimes I quite enjoy them. But I hate everything that comes with them. First, there's the stress that comes with getting one. I know some of this is like self-inflicted because at least with, new Xbox and Nintendo consoles, I like to get them at or around launch, and nobody needs to get them right away, but I usually like to, and that means keeping a library of tabs for different retailers open all the time and refreshing them constantly to try and catch that 30-second window of pre-orders before they disappear. It's crazy, and it gets my blood pressure up, and I don't like it. And then there's the tribalism that no doubt always revs up around new hardware time. This one is too weak, and this one costs too much, and this one doesn't have enough flippity flops, and this one doesn't have any games. This one is a square purple box, and it's for baby gamers. Console warriors, man, they're battle stations and hurl insults across the Twitter battlefield like it's mortar fire and World War Nerd, and it's just dumb. All I want to do is enjoy awesome games. Having cool new tech is fun. I like it, but it's all just in service of playing the games that you love. And during those oh-so-brief windows of time where nobody is talking about pre-order windows and comparing specs, it's just lovely. And if we ever do reach that utopia where games are available on every platform and you just pick your console based on preferences the way you would a television, I'll be the first one to be celebrating. Last week's question for polling at Threads was, which is your favorite Star Wars trilogy? I knew that the original trilogy was going to win. Come on, that seemed obvious. But I wanted to see by how much. And it was probably about in the ballpark that I was expecting, with 84% of the votes. What did surprise me a little bit was that the prequels came in second with 12%. I certainly appreciate aspects of the prequels, but and the sequels took in 5%. I really like the sequels. I think all of them are pretty good in my mind. This week's question is, which of these is more important to you when playing a video game? Is it graphical fidelity, like the detail and the resolution and etc.? Or is it the art style? Do you want, the most realistic graphics possible, or just something with amazing style to it? So go visit Midlife SideQuest on Threads after the show to cast your vote, and I'll share the results on next week's episode. Thank you so much for listening to Midlife SideQuest. I appreciate you making time in your day to hang out with me. You can catch a new episode of the show every Thursday morning wherever you listen to podcasts. And next week, it's episode 100. Don't miss that. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review while you're there. And you can follow me on Threads by looking for Midlife SideQuest. So until next time, be well and happy gaming.